Have you ever wondered why some people seem to possess an almost supernatural ability to remain calm while the world around them is falling apart? Why is there a specific group of professionals who work the hardest, complain the least, and yet seem perfectly content to remain completely invisible? To understand this quiet resilience, we have to look at the story of a man named Marcus. Marcus represents a generation that was forged in the silence of empty suburban houses and the flickering glow of a television set that no one else was watching. Imagine a Tuesday afternoon in 1979 where 10-year-old Marcus stands on his porch, a heavy brass key hanging from a shoelace around his neck. The neighborhood is quiet, the air is still, and there is no parent waiting behind the door with a snack or a question about his day. He turns the lock, steps into the shadowed hallway, and begins the daily ritual of the latchkey child. This wasn't neglect in his mind. It was simply the curriculum of a world where both parents had to work to keep the dream alive. In those solitary hours, Marcus learned that if the sink overflowed or the pilot light went out, there was no one to call and no screen to consult for an immediate solution. He learned to read the silence, to fix his own meals, and to navigate the crushing weight of responsibility before he even hit puberty. Psychologically, Marcus was developing a high-contingency brain, a mind that maps out every possible disaster and prepares a backup plan for the backup plan. This is the origin of that famous Gen X independence, a trait born not of ego, but of the absolute necessity of survival. As Marcus grew older, the world outside his front door began to mirror the instability he felt in the changing cultural landscape. He watched the adults in his life promise stability and lifelong loyalty to corporations, only to see those same adults escorted out of buildings with their lives in cardboard boxers. He saw the divorce rates climb like a fever chart, breaking the one institution he was told was unbreakable. These weren't just news stories to Marcus. They were the blueprints of a reality where the rules could be rewritten overnight without warning. This created a specific kind of defensive pessimism, a mental suit of armor that allows him to hope for the best while realistically expecting the rug to be pulled out. By the time Marcus entered the workforce, he wasn't looking for a work family or a mission statement. He was looking for competence. He became the employee who stays late, not for the glory, but because he knows that being indispensable is the only real job security that exists. You see him in meetings today, leaning back with a slightly skeptical smirk, watching younger colleagues panic over things he solved 20 years ago. He doesn't post his successes on LinkedIn, and he doesn't need a digital pat on the back to feel like his work has value. To Marcus, social media feels like a trap, a place where you give away your most valuable asset to your privacy for the cheap price of a like. He remembers a time when your mistakes died in the moment they happened, instead of being archived in the digital cloud forever. That privacy is his sanctuary, a holdover from a childhood where being unobserved meant being truly free. When a crisis hits the office, Marcus is the first one moving, his hands already dirty while everyone else is still debating the protocol. He doesn't ask for permission because he never had to ask for it when he was 10 years old, fixing a broken bike chain in a garage. He values the physical world, the weight of a tool, and the logic of a machine that either works or it doesn't. There is a profound irony in his life because he is the bridge between the analog past and the hyperconnected future. He can navigate a complex software suite with the same intuition he uses to rewire a lamp or navigate a city without a map. Marcus doesn't fear the silence that scares younger generations. He finds his strength in it because the silence is where he first learned who he was. He is the quiet engine of the modern world, the one who keeps the lights on while the louder generations argue about who gets the credit. He looks at his own children now, surrounded by constant supervision and digital tethers, and he feels a strange mix of relief and worry. He is glad they are safe, but he wonders if they will ever know the intoxicating power of being truly, magnificently alone. He worries that, in protecting them from the cold house and the empty afternoon, we have taken away their chance to build their own internal compass. Marcus knows that the world is inherently broken, but he also knows that he has the tools to fix his small corner of it. He doesn't need your validation, and he certainly isn't going to ask for your help unless it's absolutely necessary. He's the survivor of a Cold War childhood, a witness to the death of the middle class, and the architect of his own rugged reality. If you look closely, you will see Marcus everywhere in the quiet manager, the stoic neighbor, and the friend who shows up without being asked. They are the generation that was told they didn't matter, so they decided to matter only to themselves and the people they love. They are the masters of irony, using humor as a shield against a world that often feels like a cruel joke. But beneath that shield is a loyalty that is unshakable and a competence that is terrifyingly efficient. They are the last ones who know how to be bored, the last ones who know how to disappear, and the last ones who truly understand the cost of a promise. Marcus finishes his coffee, closes his laptop, and walks out of the office without making a sound. He doesn't need a standing ovation. He just needs to know that the job is done and the door is locked. The world moves on, loud and frantic, while the invisible generation simply continues to hold the bridge steady. They are the ghost in the machine, the steady hand on the wheel, and the quiet voice of reason in a room full of screams. Understanding Marcus is understanding the psychology of a group that was raised to be ghosts and ended up becoming the foundation. Their story isn't one of tragedy, but of a gritty, unvarnished triumph over a world that forgot to watch them grow up. They found their light in the shadows and their voice in the silence. And as the sun sets on another day of chaos, Marcus is already planning for tomorrow, 3 steps ahead of everyone else. He knows that no matter what happens, he will find a way to make it work, just like he did when he was 10. Because for Marcus and his generation, the greatest strength isn't being seen. It's being capable of standing alone. The history books might overlook them, but the gears of the world would grind to a halt without their quiet intervention. Take a moment to appreciate the person in your life who never asks for help but is always the first to give it. Chances are, they have a key around their neck and a story of a quiet house etched into their soul. They are the keepers of the old wisdom and the practitioners of the new, blending 2 worlds into one seamless life. They remind us that resilience isn't something you're born with, but something you build in the empty hours of an afternoon. Their legacy isn't written in status updates, but in the enduring strength of the things they have built and the people they have protected. Marcus drives home in the quiet, content with the knowledge that he is enough, regardless of who is watching. The invisible generation remains exactly where they want to be in the middle of everything, making sure it all keeps moving. They are the silent guardians of common sense in a world that often feels like it's losing its grip on reality. Marcus remembers the smell of the library, the weight of the card catalog, and the patience required to find a single truth. He carries that patience with him into every boardroom and every family dinner, a stabilizing force in a frantic age. He doesn't fear the future because he has already survived the end of the world a dozen times over in his own mind. He knows that institutions may crumble and technology may fail, but the human spirit, forged in solitude, is unbreakable. He watches the sun rise and doesn't feel the need to photograph it, satisfied to simply exist within the moment. He is the master of the pivot, the one who can change direction without losing his footing or his dignity. Marcus represents the collective memory of a time when you had to be your own hero before the streetlights came on. He doesn't hold a grudge against the world for leaving him alone. He thanks the world for giving him the space to grow. He sees the beauty in a job well done, even if the only person who ever knows about it is himself. He is the person you call when everything else has failed, the one who knows exactly where the manual is hidden. His life is a testament to the power of the middle child of history, the one who kept the peace while the others fought. He is the observer, the strategist, and the silent partner in every great human endeavor of the last 40 years. He finds joy in the simple mechanics of life, the way a car engine purrs or the way a garden grows under his care. He doesn't need a megaphone to be heard, because his actions speak with a volume that words could never reach. Marcus is the definition of grounded, his roots buried deep in the soil of a decade that demanded grit over glamour. He is the one who remembers the names of the people who actually do the work, the ones in the basement and the back room. He treats the CEO and the janitor with the same level of detached respect, valuing only what they contribute to the whole. He has lived through the transition from analog to digital without losing his soul to the machine. He is the curator of his own experience, selecting only the most meaningful parts to carry forward into the unknown. He looks at the horizon and sees not a threat, but a challenge he is already equipped to handle. He is the personification of the word reliable, a trait that is becoming increasingly rare in a world of distractions. He doesn't chase trends because he knows that most of them are just noise designed to drown out the silence. He values the quiet evening, the cold beer, and the sound of his own thoughts after a long day of fixing things. He is a reminder that you don't have to be the loudest person in the room to be the most powerful one. He is the architect of a life built on substance rather than style, a life that can weather any storm. Marcus is the shadow that protects the flame, the one who ensures that the light never truly goes out. He is the silent witness to the evolution of our species, recording the changes in his own quiet way. He is the man with the key, the man with the plan, and the man who doesn't care if you know his name. He is the essence of Generation X, the invisible force that keeps the world spinning on its axis. He is the reason we can sleep at night, knowing that someone, somewhere, is watching the dials. He is the hero of his own quiet story, a story that doesn't need an ending because it's always in motion. He is Marcus, and he's the soul of the generation that found strength in being forgotten. If you found value in this deep dive into the human psyche, please subscribe to Deep Mind Portal.